The White House has developed a blueprint for a tenant's Bill of Rights, and it could be the basis for anti landlord legislation throughout the entire country. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Are you an aspiring landlord looking to buy your first rental property? Or perhaps you're a small real estate investor with one or two properties and you're trying to move up to the next level? You could use consulting, and I'm offering consulting here through Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. If you're interested, please send me an email at tony@northomahainvestments.com. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over this blueprint for the Tenants Bill of Rights that's coming out of the White House, okay? So the current administration, they are very pro-tenant, and they are looking at different regulations that they can try to implement upon property owners. I mean, they say that this stuff is pro-tenant, but really what it is all anti-landlord, because it hurts our ability to operate our businesses in the most efficient and fair way possible. Instead, it gives the tenants an unfair advantage and forces us to take on the burden and the monetary losses from coddling them and treating them like they are children. Okay, that's my personal opinion. Okay, so yeah, it's not a good thing, and I can see that, especially when I heard about the current administration, when they were pushing towards extending the eviction moratorium back during the pandemic, even though they knew it was unconstitutional. I knew at that point that, hey, this is an anti-landlord administration. They do not like us. They want to take our rights away. They're going to do everything possible to make sure that that we get screwed over. That's pretty much it. Okay, they want to make sure that we get screwed over because they're pushing towards socialism. They want socialism. They want socialized housing. They want to be in control of it. They don't want private property owners in control of it. And that's wrong. It's dead wrong. We do not live in that kind of society, and I'm going to fight against it. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So, what do you think of nationwide? I want you to keep that in mind. These rules, if there are federal laws or federal rules being passed, they would be nationwide. So they would hit everywhere. Blue states, red states, U.S. territories. I mean, there would be no running from this sort of thing. Okay, we would be stuck under just a very anti-landlord progressive policies, and I would consider it kind of similar to the way Canada is run, right? I mean, their entire government is so anti-landlord and it seeps in throughout the entire country. There's pockets of places where they have a few less rules, but overall, if you're a landlord up there, I mean, it is a very difficult place to operate, okay? So anyway, let's get into the article. This article is coming from jdsupra.com, and it says, the Biden administration and agencies take action to protect renters. Yeah, protect renters. Well, I'm going to give you my opinions of the ideas that they are proposing. I don't know if these proposals are approved yet or not, but I'm going to give you my opinions of them. So let's get into it. On July 27th, the Biden administration released a fact sheet detailing new actions to develop the blueprint for a renter's Bill of Rights, which was rolled out early this year. The three new actions aim to support renters by, 1, ensuring all renters have an opportunity to address incorrect tenant screening reports, 2, providing new funding to support tenant organizing efforts, and 3, ensuring that renters are given fair notice in advance of eviction. Additionally, the CFPB, USDA, FHFA, and HUD concurrently released statements aimed at landlords, reminding them of best practices and their obligation to inform tenants of their rights. That's funny. All those different agencies released statements aimed at landlords. I didn't get any of those statements. I don't know about you guys. I don't remember reading any of them. It's hilarious. Oh, yeah, we released all these press announcements to landlords. Well, none of the landlords I know have read that crap. Okay? like I said, when they pass new rules and new regulations, it's not like we get an email. This is the problem. This is how landlords get caught up in the first place, because they change the rules, they change the laws so often that we don't even know what's going on. But anyway, let's get into what they just covered there in that first paragraph. It says they want to ensure all renters have an opportunity to address incorrect tenant screening reports, right? And so whenever I read anything about, oh, we want renters' rights and we want to correct incorrect information on the tenant screening report, what they really want is they want to ban the ability of landlords to even use a tenant screening report. Okay, that's the truth. And it's pretty obvious when you look at these cities in California where they're saying, oh, no, 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 you cannot look at the background information. Or, oh, no, 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 you cannot look at the eviction information on a tenant, right? So if you take away the landlord's ability to look at, the criminal background or the eviction history, you've taken away, 75% plus of what that screening report is even worth. But, they play around with the words here because they're trying to encourage the local municipalities to do just that. They want to ban us from being able to use tenant screening reports. So the next little bullet point they had there was providing new funding to support tenant organizing efforts. And I know some people are like, what does that mean, tenant organizing efforts? Well, for those who don't know, what a lot of tenants are doing now is they're forming tenant unions. So you might have an apartment building, or you might have a duplex with two tenants in it, right? But let's just use an apartment building because that sounds a little bit more likely to happen in there. So you have an apartment building. The building has some problems in it, right? And the landlord, they might feel that the landlord isn't addressing those problems quickly enough or good enough, right? And so rather than each individual tenant going to the landlord and saying, hey, I have a water leak that hasn't been fixed yet or whatever, all the tenants, they get together, oh, no, we're in a union, we're all on strike, none of us are paying you anything. Now, keep in mind that this can be used and abused. We see what unions do to businesses, and they can do the exact same thing to landlords. Okay, so take a look at Yellow Trucking Company that just went bankrupt and had to lay off 30,000 people because their union was unwilling to work with them. Well, guess what? That is exactly what will happen to a landlord. You own an apartment building. The tenants say, oh, well, you're not keeping this place a good enough repair. Or maybe they'll say, oh, you're raising the rents too much. They go on strike. They don't pay you a dime. You can't pay your loans. And, you can't retaliate against their union according to the local laws. So guess what? You go bankrupt. Okay? That's the kind of ridiculousness. I'm 100% against unions, be it in the workplace, in the government, in anywhere. Okay, I hate unions. I despise them. I think that they are nothing but a pure socialist system that rewards people who don't work, and we don't need them. We do not need them. And to try to put that system in housing, that sounds horrible. That sounds absolutely horrible, and it will lead to just disaster. It will lead to absolute disaster. So no, that's garbage. The second bullet point. So let's go on to the third one. Ensuring that renters are given fair notice in advance of eviction. Right? Now notice they don't put any kind of timetable on that. What is fair notice? Okay? And they're like, oh no, you have to give a tenant fair notice. Well, I remember some cities, some municipalities now are saying, oh, you have to give them 6+ months of notice. In fact, I believe in Los Angeles, I just covered a story about how HGTV star was evicting rent-controlled tenants from his building, right? And they said, well, if the tenant is elderly and has lived there a long time, you have to give them 1 year notice before you can evict them. A year. Keep that in mind, okay? So, I mean, the current federal administration wants to make it so that it is harder for you to be able to remove tenants, and you can't take control back of your property in a timely manner, and that is wrong. It's wrong. You're sucking the money out of us, and you know what will happen. And this is what I try to remind people. Okay, when you make things harder for landlords to do, when you make it harder for us to operate our business, it is reflected in rental costs, and everything becomes more expensive. Everything will be, like you'll go down there and you'll be like, hey, why is this apartment that I used to be able to get for $1,000 a month, man, it's 1,500 a month now. Well, the additional cost, the additional, the fact that we can't do good tenant screening, the fact that we got to wait 6 months to be able to evict the tenant, the fact that we're having rent strikes every once in a while from these tenant unions. Well, I have to increase the prices. I have to increase the prices because you know what? I would be taking a loss if I did not. And it is for the additional risk, and it is for the additional burden of all of these regulations. Regulations make things more expensive, a lot more expensive. That is the flaw in all the people who believe that passing more laws is somehow going to make things better. It will not. It will not. So, anyway, I'm going to put a link to the rest of this article down in the description below if you're interested in reading the rest of it. But, I just wanted to go over those main points and let you know, hey, this kind of stuff, it's coming. It's coming. We're going to start to see more and more of these politicians, especially the left leaning ones, but some on the right as well, who are going to try to push for nationwide federal anti landlord laws. Okay.